Welcome to Meet the Creators, a podcast dedicated to the art of business and the business of art. Meet the creative minds behind marketing campaigns, commercials, business, and art. Tune in to better understand the value of creative minds in marketing and business as we build the bridge between business and creative artists.
Super excited to have one of my best friends and fellow sevens on Meet the Creators today. We have Kenny Azama. Oh yeah.
There it is.
We have Kenny Azama from the Wander Club today. Super excited to dive deep into just your business and a little bit about your philosophy. Normally we start with intros, but since I know you, I kind of wanted to give some backstory as to how we met and the first time I heard about Wander Club. So I actually met Kenny in the dust at Burning Man, deep in the playa. And I remember meeting Kenny and just thinking that you had the coolest energy and vibe around you. You were super free, really good dancer. And I was just instantly, I felt like we were instant friends. And I remember at the time you were working at a different job and you had this idea, and you had mentioned just how you love traveling and how you wanted to turn that into a business. And so I would love for you to just kind of give us some backstory on the Wander Club and how it came to be. What is it? Yeah, you go.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, thanks for teaming me up. That's awesome. My story starts back in 2012, actually. So I graduated from UC Irvine in 2012, like June, and I worked my butt off that summer. And then I sold everything or gave everything away that I had. I used that money to buy a one-way ticket to Thailand. And so once I got to Thailand, I was backpacking around and just wandering around. And every country that I went to, I would pick up a random souvenir. So it was like a shot glass or a mug or a beer t-shirt, slippers with elephants on them, a jar with a preserved snake or a painting. Like I went on a shopping spree, dude. It was crazy. But maybe after a few months of this, I just had a huge bag of souvenirs. Me and June, actually, June was with me. And we just had this huge bag of souvenirs that we were dragging around and putting on trains, and it was too much. And so we shipped it back. And then instead, we started buying keychains from every country we went to. And so little elephant keychain, little snake keychain. And then that was great. And so I got back home and I put up all my keychains onto my wall. And then over the next few years, I would continue adding keychains to that wall from every state and country I've been to. And then I remember one day in 2017 or so, my buddy Mikey came over and we were just looking at my keychain collection on the wall, and I was showing him like, oh yeah, this is my colorful skull one. This is from Mexico when I was swimming in the cenotes, and this African drum is from Ghana, and it reminded me of my time spending time in the village. Or this little alien's from Roswell when we visited the UFO crash site. And after he left that night, I just couldn't stop thinking about this idea of like, man, that was so awesome, like sharing about my travels. And I wonder how I can put all of my keychains onto just like one keychain. And that's where the idea for the Wander Club was born. And maybe like within a few weeks time, I remember going out and buying some hardware to make this a keychain with. And then I don't know who I was trying to be, but I bought all this leather from Ethiopia. I was trying to be like the founder of Tom's or something. I don't know who I was trying to be, but that was the worst idea ever because we didn't speak the same language. And what I thought was a little bit of leather ended up being like hundreds of hides of leather. So I was out of cash immediately from day one. And I was literally sleeping on these hides of leather in my bedroom. Like it was like, you couldn't even see my floor, my bathroom, my closet. Like my room smelled like leather. It was terrible. And then I think, let's see, this brings me to like 2018. And then that's when we met right at Burning Man, like I was telling you. And it was still just an idea at the time. I don't even think I had a prototype yet. And I was telling people, and like the reactions were mixed. I think you were kind of excited. I think some of my friends were excited, but then my dad was like, "That's a terrible idea. Like, you shouldn't do it, you know, like just drop it right now. A few other people reacted that way, and I was like, whatever. And then, yeah, in December of 2018, I launched the business on Facebook and Instagram. And what's funny is that you were actually my first official customer. Like within like minutes of launching, like I saw Jordan Ching pop up on my phone. I was like, no way, dude. Like my number one supporter. So forever, for the rest of my life, I'll be so grateful for you and just like your support from day one, for real. Like that meant so much to me. It still means so much to me. And so the fact that we're this close now, it's just like, it means everything to me. So thank you.
So cool. And it's so
Yeah.
cool. It's so cool in just a short amount of time how much it's grown. And so for people who don't understand, what is like your elevator pitch? What's your elevator pitch for people who don't know
Mm.
what the Wander Club is?
Yeah, I should have started with that.
It's okay.
So the Wander Club, yep, we're an e-commerce brand, and we help people remember and relive their travel memories through these handcrafted keepsakes that we make. So you can think of us like a keychain version of a scratch map, where we help you keep track of all the places that you've been, and we sell these engraved tokens for every country, state, national park. Now we sell cities, landmarks, MLB stadiums that you might have traveled to, and then you can add them onto these handcrafted leather keychains that we sell with our logo on them. And so it's like just a unique, portable way to keep track of all your memories into just one. So instead of having a huge keychain collection, you just got one now. So it makes for a great gift too. And yeah, and then for every order that's placed, we also donate a meal to a child in need through the help of our nonprofit partner, Rice Bowls.
Cool. And how many rice bowls have you donated?
I was looking it up. We've donated up to 100. We've donated 117,000 meals to date. Yes. So
Oh
in
my
about
gosh,
3 years,
that's incredible.
3.25 years, we've given a lot of food for sure, and that's been the most gratifying part of this journey. So, yeah, and we could talk about that more later if you want.
Totally, totally. So
Yeah.
yeah, I want to go back to, because part of the podcast why we started it is because we're kind of mixing art and the business of art. And I
Hmm.
think something that always fascinates me is taking an idea and turning it into a reality. And
Hmm.
so from your hides in your bedroom to where you're at now, what have been, it's going to be a two-part question. What have been some of
Okay.
your biggest challenges? And then
Hmm.
also on the other side of that, what has been some of your biggest wins or biggest, proud moments? We'll start with challenges
Hmm.
and then we'll go up.
Okay. Oh my God, so many. I mean, I'll go through two pretty quickly. So I think the first was just starting a business. I mean, you understand, starting a business in the first place, it's going to demand so much of you. At the time, I had a 9 to 5. Luckily, I was in digital marketing, so a lot of my skills are transferable. But from 9 to 5, I was working. I'd have dinner, maybe do some type of like exercise, and then from maybe like 10 to 3 a.m. just grinding, right? And then I'm an Enneagram 7. I know you are too. And so I had to sacrifice a lot of my weekends too, right? Like I love partying, I love dancing, I love
Taking your
dinner
shirt off.
parties and board game nights and ripping my shirt off and swinging that little thing around. But I had to say no to a lot of things, which yeah, which was, it sucked. But I had this vision, right? And I this was like I was putting my life energy into all of this. And so and I wanted to do it within a year. I didn't want to spend more than a year of my life just like saying no to all of these things and sacrificing. And so that was really tough.
Mm-hmm.
But when I launched, it was also the most gratifying thing ever, right? Because when you work so hard for something and then it's out there and then you're super nervous and scared, but then it's received well, it's like, oh my God, like a huge wave of relief. So I think just the creation process and then going against my I guess tendencies to want to see people and like stay in was really tough. And then I think the second challenge, I mean, COVID was like crazy. We had just gotten our bearings and our feet in the ground, and a year later, right, March 11th, Donald Trump just announces the Europe ban, the NBA season gets canceled, and then Tom Hanks got COVID, and we were just like, no, dude, this is crazy. And then like literally overnight, like the travel industry just got Thanos. Like it turned into dust. And then we were on a high too, dude. Like our team was like a family. Like we had just grown like 40%. We had grown 40%. And we had just locked down like a really big warehouse too. So we were just like, we were on cloud nine, and then COVID happened, and then I had to let go of all of my agencies. I had to furlough most of my employees. I didn't have anything to do with my time, so what did I do? I bought a DJ deck, and right, I know you did too, and so we didn't end up using that. But I was ready to become a full-time DJ. You know, I was like, all right, like the water club's over, dude. You know, I had like a little glimmer of hope. Like I was like, I for real thought it might be the end because we just didn't know when COVID was going to end, you know, and 100 plus orders per day turned into less than 5. And we're like, dude, I can't even buy dinner with this, you know? So that was really tough. And then for about 3 months there, it got really, really hairy. But, and you know, that answers the question about it being a challenge. I think, you know, we did a great job pivoting. And I don't know if you want me to talk about that at all, or I can dive into the next question.
Let's go into the pivot and we can follow up with the other.
Okay, cool. So the pivot, you know, for about 3 months, we were just like, what are we doing? We're just like in quarantine. The Wander Club turned into the Ponder Club, as I like to think about it. We were just sitting there and thinking. And but you know, we realized that international travel wasn't going to be opening up anytime soon. And so we started to change our marketing more towards US states and to US national parks. We did a photo shoot with like more leaves and dirt, and that imagery and that pivot really started to resonate with people. Like national parks and US states started to pick up a little bit. And I think it was perfect timing too, because it came in conjunction when like people and families, they didn't want to be stuck inside the house anymore. Right? People, and they were like, their kids were driving them crazy. They needed to get outside. And so national parks, they just started to see a huge influx of traffic. And it went perfectly with our products too. We sold national parks and states at the time. And it's interesting actually, because national parks and states skyrocketed from there while countries stayed low. And then we started to realize that the Wander Club is this thermometer for the travel industry. Like we get to see, it's almost like data coming in of where is popular and where is not. So then during COVID, like our Mexico and Hawaii tokens, just like they blew up because those are the only 2 places people were going. So yeah, it's interesting being able to just see where people are going around the world in real time. So yeah, then we were okay, and then we hit. Well, and then oh my gosh, Q4. I'm getting like PTSD talking to you right now. Q4 2020 was a crazy challenge too. I mean, just to quickly touch on that, we had about maybe 30,000 orders to fulfill.
Wow.
Because e-commerce had just boomed. It was a great time, and it was also the worst time because we didn't have the cash to buy enough inventory, nor did we have the foresight to think we needed that much.
Dang.
And then USPS also wasn't delivering any of our orders that we were getting out too. And then we had COVID, so we could only have a few employees in the office at a time. And, you know, whenever somebody was like exposed or they thought they'd been exposed, like they stayed home. Does the office shut down? Does it not? We have 30,000 orders to get out. And I remember one day just driving to the office, and I was just like, I swear I was having like a panic attack when I was driving. I was like, my breathing and my chest felt so heavy. Because I didn't know how we were going to do it. You know, everyone's orders were going missing. People that wouldn't normally Karen were Karening on us because it was just like, Christmas is past already. Where is my order? And I felt so bad. It was definitely it was probably the hardest period of my entire life.
That was 20. Was that 2020 or 2021? 2020, right?
That was 2020.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I want to go back to this, but okay, those are some challenges like any startup, and I mean compounded with COVID and having to pivot. So what were some of your biggest, I guess, wins and moments of just, you know, feeling that accomplishment?
Yeah. I think personally speaking, my biggest wins come from when we hear stories from customers. And so, I mean, in what we do, right, our product is just inherently, it brings people together. We're big in the gifting space. And so just knowing that when someone gives our product and these thoughtful tokens to their recipient, that immediately we are the source of like these happy tears and these
Mm-hmm.
smiles and these hugs. And so to know that we're putting out happiness into the world through our product too, and helping people travel memories alive, it's the most gratifying thing for me. I feel so like blessed and grateful to be in the travel space because every day is so fun for me and my
Mm-hmm.
team. Getting to build a travel community, and collecting these stories. And so what we've got technologically is after somebody makes a purchase, we ask them in a survey like, what's the story behind your
Cool.
collection? And we get dozens and dozens of stories every month. And a couple of my favorites are probably the first day that we launched it. I think there was this woman who's paraplegic. She has no arms and no legs, but she wanted to collect our tokens for all of the large mountains that she's scaled, that she's climbed.
Whoa.
Yeah. So like think about like Mount Everest or the
Mm-hmm.
Himalayas. And so we hear stories like that, and it's just so gratifying. And so what we'll also do is when we hear stories like that, we'll go out of our way to um, put something special in the package. So then we put like hand warmers, or just like lotion, dry skin
Mm-hmm.
lotion in her package and ship that over to her. We've had this couple from the UK. They used our product to propose to
Cool.
one another. So they got tokens for all the places they've been to together,
Oh,
and then that's how they proposed. And what else? Yeah. Oh, and then my favorite one is we had this woman who wrote us a little testimonial, and her little brother, they were separated when they were very young. And so she had lost touch with him for like 20 or 30 years, something like that. And but she missed him. And so she went through like a DNA detective, and she was able to track him down, and she learned that he had never left the country before. And she's like, what? That's not cool. And so she took her little brother around the world. They traveled all over to all these different places, and then they got tokens. She got them all these tokens for all the places they'd been to as newfound siblings, dude.
wow.
I know. I was just like, dude, that's so crazy. And so it's been so cool to see how our customers are using
Yeah.
our product. Because for me, I made it for myself just to keep track of all
Yeah.
my places, right? But to see people proposing with them and commemorating these huge mountains and obstacles they've scaled, and to commemorate like lost, siblings, it means the world to me. So that's probably my favorite part about
That's
uh,
incredible.
just running
I
this
keep
business.
telling you, you gotta
Yeah,
like share these stories because
I
it's like its
know.
own little like mini Wander Club series, you know? Because it's like
Mm-hmm.
real stories, real people, and on top of it,
Mm-hmm.
using your product in ways that you never even dreamt of, right? That's so
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, yeah. Actually, can I
Yeah, of
share one
course.
more? So there's this I forget what her name was. She was the sweetest lady, and she had bought our collection for her mother and all the places that her mother had traveled to, all the countries she's been to. But the thing is that her mother has dementia, and she doesn't even know who she is, who her
Hmm.
daughter is. She would visit her mom every day and just talk to her. And one day she showed her the collection of all of her travels, and they were talking, and she was like going through the tokens that her mother had been to, and then her mother started to
Wow.
remember her trips and talk about these memories from her travels. And this woman was just, she was floored because like she couldn't even get her to remember, she couldn't get her mom to remember her name. And
Wow.
so these tokens, right, they just unlocked something in her mind of her travels. And that was such a powerful customer story that we got to. That one was really
That's
awesome.
so cool. Yeah. I'm sticking by it. You
Yeah.
need to make it into something.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, switching gears a little bit, I kind of wanted to talk a little bit more tactically or strategically. Something that we're
Cool.
always, facing for us and our clients is that, the world today is much different than a couple years ago. There's so many distractions, so much noise.
Mm,
It's really hard to break through. It's really hard to stand out. And I mean, e-commerce even more so, I would say, because there's just a
Yeah.
gazillion products that you could find. I
Mm-hmm.
guess what is your philosophy, your take on kind of breaking through the noise? How do you cut through? How do you reach your customers?
Mm, yeah, for sure. I think a couple of things come to mind. So, I mean, first and foremost, what I'll tell anyone who wants to start an e-commerce business is that product market fit is by far the most important part. I don't think it gets talked enough. I think people start with like something they're interested, or they do research to try to make something that, they can make money on. But finding something that people truly want it will make the rest of your years so much easier. And then on top of that, I think finding the right product that has the margins, right? I'd say it's at least 70% margins. I would also recommend something
Mm,
small so that it doesn't take up a lot of space in the storage, and you can mess around with cheaper shipping
mm,
options too, because it just makes your whole life easier
mm-hmm,
when it's light and small. So I'd say product market fit's the most important part, and then of course like a unique story, right? My story that I shared in the beginning, um, it's one that connects with people, and most people when I talk to them about the Wonder Club, they all say, "I love to travel." Everybody loves to travel, and I think that's true. And then also it's like you love to travel, but then as the years pass by, you start to forget about the places you've
mm-hmm.
been to, right? If someone asks me today, where have I been? And I don't have my Wonder Chain keychain on me, I'm like,
Yeah.
I forget. I've been to here, I think, and here. So that's a feeling that a lot of people can resonate with. And they forget about all the experiences they had. They forget about who they were in those moments. And so that's a pain point that we're tapping into. So your product has to
Mm-hmm,
solve a problem too. Um, so I'd say that's the most important part. And then making it unique, right? Our product is unique. It gets people to stop on whether it's Facebook or Instagram or TikTok. And then we're playing off of that uniqueness too. And so recently we launched our baseball collection. So we're making our keychains out of baseball glove
mm-hmm,
leather now. And that has been going really, really well because it's unique, because it's different, and it has a story behind it too. So I think tying story into your product is super, super crucial.
Why
Um,
is that? Why
I'd
is
say the
that? Because that
second
was going to
thing,
be my follow-up question, but you're already there.
yeah, I mean, it's just from the time that, we were sitting around a fire with no
Mm-hmm,
electricity, right? Humans just connected on stories. There's so many ancient fables and myths, and people just connect with them. I think they put themselves into those stories and see a little bit of themselves in them. And so that's what marketing is, right? Is writing and crafting your marketing and your messaging to be able to put your ideal customer into that story and make them see how your product can fit into their life. Because without that, and there's no connection, well, then to them, it's just
mm-hmm,
another product, right? And they can get it anywhere, especially if there's
mm-hmm,
competitors. The analogy I always like to use is imagine that there's 100 chefs and they all made the exact same meal, but then you're walking down trying to decide which one to grab, but then one person starts talking to and sharing with you his story or her story about how they made the dish, where it came
mm-hmm,
from, their mother taught them how to make
mm-hmm,
it maybe, and then now you're really going to connect with that meal much more than any of the other ones that look exactly the
mm-hmm,
same. And so we're doing that too. We don't have too many competitors, but we still find so much value in the connection and the power of
mm-hmm,
story.
mm-hmm. I love that.
And so,
I love
yeah.
that. And
Yep.
I want to kind of fast forward a little bit. You mentioned the MLB collection, which
Mm-hmm.
I saw you launch it on Instagram. I was like, oh, this is so cool. So tell us how that's going. What does the future hold for Wonder Club? Like, what are all the exciting things? And you don't have to
Mm-hmm.
share too much, but anything that you're most excited about.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. That one, I mean, again, that's kind of like one of those Hail Marys where we didn't know if it was gonna work or not. Like, and that's part of the game, is just taking these calculated risks of, we sent out a survey, and we knew that baseball was a popular sport amongst our customer
Mm-hmm.
base. And so it wasn't a total shot in the dark, but still, I mean, we put in thousands of dollars to buy these gloves to perfect the technique of making these keychains. and then adding all of these SKUs for
Wait,
we
can
call
you
them baseball
explain
card custodian.
what you're doing with the gloves? Because that was really fucking cool.
Oh, yes. Yeah. So what we're doing is we're sourcing all of these vintage gloves from across America, and we're getting them in house, and then we're delacing them, and then we're cutting them. We're hand die cutting them, and then turning those into our
Cool.
token holders. And so we're backing them with a steer hide leather. We're using solid brass hardware, so it's a great keychain, and it's all repurposed from vintage
Cool.
baseball gloves. And every design is totally unique. Some have like the markings from like the athlete who sponsored the glove, or some say like all the quotes from baseball, and like rawhide leather. Like it just looks really, really cool.
Are you filming that
Um,
process? Because that's so
and
cool. Okay.
we're going
Okay,
to,
good,
yeah, it's
good.
in the works.
Okay.
It's super cool. Um, so yeah, we're stoked on this product. And luckily for us, it was really well received. We've always been in this
Mm-hmm.
travel silo, but now we're branching off into sports for the very first time, and it's been incredible. It's a totally different customer base. Um, and the sports fans
Yeah.
are crazy, dude. They're fanatic. Like they'll literally get into fights about their team. Like they'll burn cars for their team. Like when their team wins or loses, like they're insane. So it makes sense that this is
Mm-hmm.
going well for us. And so now it's really just inspired us. Like this launch has inspired us to like not stay
Cool.
within the travel lane. We always wanted to we thought, okay, we're that travel brand, and we always will be at our
Mm-hmm.
core. But now, we're thinking about the football season coming up in September, and making our keychains out
Mm-hmm.
of football leather. We're thinking about golf and making them out of golf clubs. We're thinking about commemorating things like marathons,
Oh, cool.
um, maybe karate,
Mm-hmm.
maybe even going down real life moments such as Alcoholics
Mm.
Anonymous. Maybe we're going to be doing, um, man, there's so many different things that people like to collect
Yeah.
over the course of their lifetime. And so we're going to try to break out and then be that company for
Cool.
people, help them commemorate not only just their travels, but the milestones in
Yeah,
their life.
that's incredible. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that just made me think of a friend's company. She does greeting cards, but she does it for
Mm.
all the like moments in between life. So she
Yes.
it's called Thoughtful Human. It's a really cool company, and they do,
So good.
if
Mm-hmm.
you're struggling with depression, or just the like tougher moments, or just things like she has like a cancer chemo type of card, you know, type of, it's just like
Mm.
real life things. Very
Yeah.
interesting, because like
So good.
once you finish treatment or something like that, that's totally something people might want to commemorate or celebrate, or
Mm-hmm.
weeks
Yeah.
sober, like,
Yeah.
you know stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Cool,
Hmm.
cool.
Yeah. I remember when you told me about that
Yeah.
company once, I was blown away because it's
Mhm.
so cool, right? It's like people are only making cards for like
Mhm.
birthdays, or, well, there are get better cards soon, but then more specific in those in
Mhm.
between, that spectrum of human experience, right? That doesn't often get not
Yeah.
celebrated, but
Totally.
spoken about.
Wow,
Yeah.
it's so cool though what you're doing in terms of expanding beyond travel, and just, hitting people's interests. And I feel like the possibilities are limitless, really, with what you can do, and you
Hmm.
figured out a formula that works, and it's also impact driven, which I think is also the coolest part about it too, is not only are you killing it, but you're also, the more you kill it, the more impact you have, which I think is such a beautiful thing.
Mm.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, for me, that part was growing up. I was never like a super
Mm,
generous person with my
mm-hmm,
time or my energy. I don't think I was a selfish person, but I definitely wasn't. I wouldn't say that I'm proud of like how generous I was with my
mm-hmm,
resources, right? So, um, when I first started this, I was like, I'm going to change that. This was my vehicle to become a better person, and so from day one, we've always donated money to rice bowls, in the effort of doing our part to end world hunger. And so it's great. Like, it's infused into my being now at this point. The Wander Club is such a part
mm-hmm.
of my identity, and so infusing that's been great. And then for every order that's placed, we donate a meal to a child in need. And so it's very easy for our customers to understand too, and bring them into the fold. And it's something that's even bigger than just our product or bigger than our customers. It's like we get to be now a part of this impact, right? So it's awesome. Our customers love it. We're going to be going to Honduras in September to visit some of the orphanages, and we're really excited about this partnership with Rice Bowls. It's been so
amazing. And okay, so I just have
great.
one question, and then I want you to kind of share where people can find you and whatnot. But any words of
Cool.
advice to people who are learning or would like to take their ideas and turn them into reality?
Yes. I think two pieces of advice come to mind. I think the first one I learned from one of my really good friends and my ex-boss. Her name is Melissa Griffin, really successful online entrepreneur. She taught me that done is better than perfect. Done is better than perfect. And so I know for me personally, and I know for a lot of people, it's easy to want to make sure that every little thing is perfect. Like your product is perfect, your website is perfect, your copy and your images and everything has to be perfect before anyone else can see it, before I launch. And that's not the case. I think all that extra time spent making every tiny little thing perfect equates to years of lost, wins and learnings. And like for me, for example, like when I launched in December of 2018, the website was not working some parts of it. The images were kind of crappy. I knew that the product, I mean, I feel bad for you because you were the first customer. You got the worst version of it. It was not that great, It had a lot of love in it. Like I made it. It took me forever to make, but I mean, it was not a good product compared to what we've got today. So, but like through that process, like I got feedback from people. We got to just tweak over time our messaging and get to know our customers better. And so I'd say, yeah, you just got to get it out there because you'll create so much momentum if you do it that way. So keeping that in mind, that done is better than perfect is always something I think about. I think the second thing is just if you're not failing, you're not trying hard enough. I always keep that in mind too. For me, like I failed so many times in my life. I've tried to start up 2 different businesses in the past. I fail every day still in how I communicate with my team or not forecasting inventory properly in your Q4. With failed products that we try to launch and they just flop. Like I fail all the time, but we're moving forward and I'm moving fast and I'm breaking things, but then it's a numbers game because when I do win, those are big wins and those are going to carry us further so much further than had I just taken it slow and cautiously and not tried to fail. So I think, just failing, just if you don't shoot your shot, right, you're never going to make one. So
feeling like a true entrepreneur. Okay, and lastly, where can people find you and where can they buy these wonderful tokens to commemorate travels and now sports and all life's precious moments?
Yeah. Yeah. So you can find us at thewanderclub.com. And Instagram is at The Wander Club. TikTok is at The Wander Club. So that's where you can find us. And if you want to reach out to me, if you have any questions about business or e-commerce or Burning Man, whatever it might be, my email is going to be Kenny. My email is going to be Kenny.
Kenny's really good at Burning Man. He's an expert. Well, thank you so much for your time today. And I loved being able to dive a little deeper on the Wander Club and all things in your world.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me. This was so fun. This was my first podcast, actually, about the Wander Club.
Cool.
So, yes,
awesome.
Yes.
Well, we will do it justice. And thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to Meet the Creators. I hope you found value in today's episode. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast and please share with a friend.